Morning, everybody. Uh, got the start of camp here, so I'm going to go ahead and start a recording. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. It's a Thursday morning, and everything's going good. Yesterday we got into writing our first little chunks of code. And anytime that you're writing code, I've kind of mentioned this before. It's a good way of looking at writing code. Um, this is how I think of it. I'm not a perfect human being. There's no such thing as a perfect human being. We all have imperfections. And therefore, since we are imperfect humans, the code that we write and the things that we do have imperfections in them. And so the code that I was writing yesterday, I encountered a bug, and it was kind of early on in the camp to hit a bug, and it took me a little time to kind of figure out the mistake that I made. Even though I had written this code before, and I literally, I've done this literally last week, but the week before camp started, I wrote all this code and I had it all working. But you still make mistakes, and so since I'm imperfect and make mistakes, anyways, I had a bug. I have since fixed my bug, and I wanted to kind of show in this recording kind of what we have going on here. So all I've really done is I've made a very simple example item. You could see that item is a picture of a heart. And so that item, I placed it under the miscellaneous tab. And you can kind of scroll down here and you can hover and you can see Evan's example item. And so that is the first mod that we're going to have. It's just an item mod. We're creating an item. I chose to make it a heart. You can have a different image if you want. Okay, and I think this is just a Minecraft heart. I just did a Google search for Minecraft heart. If you want to use the same image, you can. Um, there is one rule in these images, and the rule on these images is they have to be a PNG. And so images have file types. Um, there's PNGs, there's JPEGs, there's GIFs. Um, the example item that we create has to be a PNG. So you can't really do much with this item now. We have to continue writing code to actually make this item have effects or have it useful. And if we get far enough into the camp, I'll definitely make sure that you guys know how to do that before the camp is over. Yeah, I'm recording. Yeah. So let me go ahead and quit this game and show you the code that you have to write to get to this point. So if you open up IntelliJ, there's actually um, 4 files that we're going to cover, and we've already covered one of these files. And so if you remember, um, in IntelliJ, we kind of went into the source folder. You might remember this now. In the source folder, we went into the main folder, and then we went into the Java source code. We expanded our example mod folder, and there was this file called tutorial mod. Okay, now I've made this code available to you. I've actually updated this file. So I've made this available to you on our Discord channel where you can copy and paste. So what you'll do, one of the first steps you'll take is you will go into your tutorial mod. If you hit Control A will highlight everything, and then you can delete what's there. And then if you go into Discord and code chunks, I'll pull this onto the recording so you can see this. There's only one there's only one code chunk here right now, and this is for tutorialmod.java. And all you have to do is you come in here, you highlight everything. If you miss one line, it will not work. You copy, you go back into the file and you paste, and it should work. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do today is update your tutorialmod.java with the sample code that's in Discord. Now, I will also put this on the YouTube video. I will put this sample code on the YouTube video so that you can copy and paste it if you're not necessarily following on the Discord channel. You can also get the code on YouTube. Very cool. So the next step, so that's file number one. You'll see I actually I got 4 items open up here. There's 4 files, and then there's one picture. The one picture is the picture of the item itself. Okay. So once you're done with tutorial mod, you can go ahead and close tutorial mod, and I shouldn't have to come back to that. Bless you. So the next thing that you'll do is go ahead and create another folder. And there's some organization that is required. One of the challenges for all of the camp participants is paying very close attention to detail. Okay, because if you miss a single line of code, if you miss a single semicolon, if you have a typo, it will not work. That's part of the challenges of writing code, is that it is very particular, very strict, very strict. Okay. So you'll notice here the folder that I created is core.init. I got someone who's not muted. Hey, Zernin, could you mute yourself, please, buddy? Thank you. So the folder that I have created is core.init. Now I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna delete that folder because I actually have something in there. I'm gonna show you how to create the core.init folder inside of the example mod folder. So what you're actually gonna do is you're gonna right click this example mod. You're gonna say new package. And then in this new package prompt, you're going to type in core.init and you're going to hit enter. So you would hit enter right here. Now I'm not going to hit enter because I've already created this folder. Okay, so let's just pretend that I hit enter here and that folder is created. Okay, so pretend that I hit enter. It should create this core.init folder underneath the example mod. Okay, inside of this init folder, you can see one file. This is another Java file. This is called item init. Okay, now the way to create this file, again, very attention to detail, very much attention to detail. Please pay attention. You're going to right click, say new Java class. You're going to type in the word item, capital I-T-E-M, init, capital I on init, I-N-I-T. If you do not have that capitalization, do you think it will work? Rhetorical question, but you can go ahead and respond. Someone in the camp, if you don't capitalize it like that, will it work?
No.
Someone give me a no. Thank you. You're right. Whoever said that, you're smart. Good job. It will not work. Capital I on init, capital I on item. Right click, new Java class, item init. If I open up item init, this is another Java file that I've written some Java. Again, Java in itself, to master Java takes years. If you want to be a Java master, okay, it's kind of like martial arts. You don't become a martial arts master overnight, okay? It takes years and years and years of practice, okay? Um, my objective here is to expose you to Java, where this is in fact Java source code. Um, and as we get modding, as we start modding more, we can start experimenting with the Java code. Okay, and that's actually going to be part of the fun part of the camp, is once you can actually get in here and experiment a little bit. Right now, we're just getting it working, kind of bare bones template, like just get it working before we experiment. Okay, so for this purpose, item init, I'm going to go into Discord. Okay, I'm going to scroll to the bottom here, and I'm just going to put like, I'm going to put a item init.java source code. Replace your item init.java source code with this. Okay, and I'm going to paste in that source code and hit enter. Okay, so you can see I've given you the item init source code. Let me take a look at Zernan's message. Okay, Zernan, I'll be with you after I'm done recording this video, okay? Hang tight. Okay, so we've covered two files, item init, and we've covered tutorial mod. Those are both in the Java folder. Now, the next folder that we're going to start putting things in is this resources folder, okay? And yesterday, there was a step that I needed everyone to take, and I didn't have everyone do this. So today, let's everyone, when you get to this step, here's what we're going to do. We're going to right-click on resources, and we're going to scroll down to say mark directory as, and there's going to be a blue folder right here. I think it's just going to say sources root. Mine already is. Mine actually says generated sources root. Whatever that blue folder says, click on that blue folder item. Is anyone following along? What does that say? For those of you following along,
Yeah,
mine says generated sources root. What does yours say?
I'm following along, but but right now I'm opening Discord so that I can,
Okay.
on my other computer so that I can use it.
No, you're fine. Anyone following along? What does that marked directory say? What does that say?
Sources root.
Yeah, it says sources root. Awesome. That's what I thought. So you're going to click that, and what you're going to notice is that this resources folder is going to go blue, just like this Java folder. And that's kind of what we're looking for. Okay. Now, inside of resources, again, this is very picky, very particular, very strict. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create this assets.tutorial. If you don't spell this correctly, if you have a typo, it will not work. Okay, so I'm going to right click on resources now, and I'm going to say new package. And what I'm going to type in here is assets.tutorial. And I'm going to hit enter. You would hit enter. Okay, I already have this package created, so I don't have to hit enter. Okay, but you go ahead and do that. And it should create this assets.tutorial folder. Okay, again, organization is kind of required. If I could simplify this process, I would, but in order to do this, they kind of forced your hand here to make some organization, because actually underneath this, we've got 3 folders. Actually, timeout. If you're following along, go ahead and right-click the assets.tutorial and hit delete for me. It's not going to hurt anything. If you're following along with this video, I just realized I made a simple mistake. So we're going to redo this step. I'm going to right-click assets.tutorial. I'm going to click delete. And then we're going to recreate it. So here's what we're going to do. Once you've deleted assets.tutorial, this is just kind of goofy the way this works. I'm going to right-click resources. I'm going to say new package. I'm going to do assets.tutorial.lang, L-A-N-G. I'm going to hit enter. Okay, and it's not going to look exactly like my screen yet. But again, I right-clicked resources and I create a new package. That package is assets.tutorial.lang, exactly in that order. Then I'm going to create another folder. I'm going to say new, I'm going to right-click resources, new package. This one's going to be assets.tutorial.models.item, singular. Models is plural, item is singular. So that's the next one that we create. And here's the third one. So you created that one, you hit enter. I'm going to right-click resources a third time, say new Java package, assets.tutorial.textures.items, I-T-E-M-S. Hit enter. So you will have created a folder structure that looks now like mine. Under assets.tutorial, you have lang, you've got models.item, and you've got textures.items. Under lang, okay, we're going to create a file under lang. You're going to right-click, new file, and this file is going to be en for English underscore us for United States .json, en underscore us .json, very particular. Okay, this is called a JSON file. This is not Java source code. This is actually JSON is known as JavaScript object notation is what that stands for. And this might be a little confusing, but JavaScript is not Java. But this is just a file that contains information. So this is JavaScript, JS, object notation, and it's just a file with information in it. And so this is the source code for our JSON file. Okay, this JSON file has to be in the lang folder. That lang folder has to be inside of assets.tutorial. Okay, I'm going to again make this source code available to you in Discord. So this is the third file that you're working with today. Let me go into Discord. This is en underscore us.json source code. Replace your en underscore us.json source code with this. And I'm going to put in little symbols there, hit enter, and it looks like so literally you come into here. You copy. You copy this, you paste it into en_us.json. That is the third file that you're going to create today and that you're going to be required to do to get this tutorial to work. Here comes the fourth file. The fourth file is inside of models.item. You'll see this is another JSON file. Okay, so you're going to expand models.item. You're going to create a new file. That file is going to be called exactly this. If it's not exactly this, as you know, it will not work. AMPLE, example underscore item.json. Example item.json. So you'll say right click, new file, example item.json. You'll hit enter. The file will open up. This is the code that you're going to put inside of example item.json. So the fourth file that I'm putting in awesome. Now, to explain this one just a little bit more, and this is going to help you out, you'll notice that inside of my textures.item, I have a heart. Okay. This heart I just downloaded from the internet. It has to be a PNG. I mentioned that earlier. Your picture has to be a PNG. In fact, if I open up my tutorial mod, forge, source, let's see, main, resources, assets, tutorial, textures, items, you can see the heart.jpg. This is an image that I've downloaded from the internet. And I could just kind of open it here. And I could see this is just a big heart. If I go to edit this, I could, draw on it or whatever. I hit resize. I want to see how big this is. This is actually a pretty big image, right? So this is 820 horizontal pixels by 631 vertical pixels. So this is actually a pretty big image. What you'll do, number one, it has to be a PNG. So maybe you want your item to be, I don't know, a basketball, right? So you're going to go and you're going to do an image search for a basketball. And when you find the right image that you want, let's say you want this basketball. You're going to right click the image and you have to click on Save Image As. And it has to say PNG. If it doesn't say PNG down here, then you got to find another image. So again, you're not clicking Save Link As, you're saving Image As. And here's a PNG. So this basketball is a PNG. And let me just change this. I'll change this to bball.png. Okay, now, where you save this, this is a common mistake that campers make. You have to save this in the right folder. If you don't save this in the right folder, surprise, it's not going to work, right? So I'm going to drill down. This is my tutorial mod, forge, source, main, resources, assets, tutorial. Let's go textures, items, and I'm going to say bball.png. Okay, when that's done kind of bouncing around, we have downloaded it into our folder. Awesome. Now if I come down here, you can see, oh, there's bball. Now it's all of a sudden it's in Eclipse. All I should have to do, bball, is change that from heart, which it said heart before, now it says bball. Okay, so you can make it what you want, And let me go ahead and run the client. Those are the steps needed to get your first item. I've given you all the code at this point to make your first item. Let's see if I get this b-ball in the game.
You have to make a new file and name it.
Yeah, I downloaded an image. Are you talking about the actual image? I downloaded an image from Google, and yeah, I created a bunch of files. I created 3 or 4 files.
So what should I name the file?
Well, there are very specific file names. You're going to create several file names, and if you kind of rewatch the video, I'll show you here in a minute what the file names are. The file names.
Sorry, your screen's glitching out, and so's your voice.
The file names and the folders that you have to create are in the video.
Okay, thank you.
So just hang tight for me. Hey, I found a basketball.
I wonder if you could use that to replace the snowball. I've definitely gone on Bedrock mods before, and by the way, I didn't actually create these mods. I just found them on the marketplace, but a couple of them involve the snowballs being replaced by tennis balls.
The last thing I want to show before I stop this video, you know where it says Evan's example item. If you go into your lang folder, you'll see the enus.json. This example item, this is where you give it its name. So I could say Evan's basketball, Evan's awesome basketball. And now it'll show up as Evan's awesome basketball in the game. Okay, so it's a lot of work for you guys, okay, to get to this point. And again, I realize the challenge because everything is very organized and everything is very strict. Okay, so again, my recommendation is to watch the video, watch it slowly, and if something isn't working or making sense, that's when you got to ask a question. Okay, so I'm going to stop the recording here. I'm very excited. This is your turn to get going. So good luck and ask questions.